Hi, everybody. This is Drew Tomlin with the Association for Middle Level Education, and I'm joined today by not one, not two, but three wonderful people and authors of this article that you're checking out in AMLE magazine entitled Distance Learning, the Wave of the Future in Middle School Education. And obviously, not only are they authors, but here they are. Here's the lineup. Brian Cook is an English language arts teacher for Worcester County Public Schools in Pocomoke City, Maryland. Christy Schmidt is a teacher specialist for English language arts 6 through 12 in Frederick County Public Schools in Frederick, Maryland. And last but not least is Katie Shaffer, and she's a middle school language arts teacher for Frederick County Public Schools as well, also in Frederick, Maryland. So, gosh, thank you guys for the article, and thank you for taking some time out of your day, out of your school day, to talk with us a little bit more.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
Happy to be here.
Absolutely. Awesome, awesome. And I know that Katie's got students on the way, and Brian, you've got probably some students on the way, so we want to make sure that we get right to the questions. So thank you so much. All right, so you ready? The first one, this is such a progressive learning model, this distance learning model. What inspired this, quote, activity of the future? What made it all happen for you guys?
I guess I'll take a stab at it. This past year or two, I've been going to ed camps and kind of talking with different educators who are kind of like-minded, and at the time Christy and I were on the planning committee, and we just kind of sat down and thought about, you know, what can we do to make learning more authentic? What can we do to allow kids to do something, you know, within the curriculum standard, but take it to the next level? And we kind of sat down and talked about, like, hey, wouldn't this be kind of cool, because our ed camp meetings were all done online. You know, we were all across the state, and we thought, man, how cool would it be to take students from across the state and have a meeting or a class period, essentially just like we're doing with adults, and make it meaningful and, you know, look at it from a classroom perspective. And we just kind of sat down, and Christy's like, yeah, it sounds like a great idea. Then I kind of made the skeleton for it, like some ideas and standards, and I passed it to Christy. And Christy kind of took it and made it a little bit of her own. Then she pulled Katie in there and said, hey, do you want to jump on board to, you know, try this? It's kind of unique. It's different. It could fail. And there's that possibility. And, I mean, it was a lot of fun to really see what, you know, transpired because of it.
Awesome, awesome. So, Katie or Christy, anything to add to that?
Yeah, it was just Brian came to me, but I'm not a classroom teacher, so I had to find a classroom teacher within the county that, like Brian said, who's willing to take a risk, who's willing to step outside her comfort zone and see what we can do with all of this technology that's available to us. And so I knew Katie, I knew she is progressive in her thinking, and I knew she'd be willing to take some risks and to try the technology and be willing to learn along with her students. So that's kind of how we all came together and got this going.
Awesome, awesome. I mean, obviously you put a great team together. So, Christy, if you don't mind if I ask, when you got that call or email or whatever that said, hey, what do you think about joining us for this fantastic voyage? What went through your mind?
You said for Christy or for Katie?
For Katie, I'm sorry, for Katie. When you got that call.
For me, I was pretty excited about it, but actually I was supposed to go on a trip right when the timing was scheduled, and I told Christy that, and they were able to work it in, so it was not a problem. And I was really excited about it. And my students, and I'll get into this a little bit more later, but I have a class of 30 actually I think it was like 36 kids in that class when Brian had, I think, just a little bit above 10, was it?
Yeah.
So what we, like, one of my most exciting things was trying to figure out which students would be able to be involved, and working with Christy to identify the kids who would be best for the project, and just seeing their excitement and being able to be working with our specialists for the county. They were very excited about it, so I was completely on board.
That's amazing, and as everyone here has said, that it's a journey, and I think, Brian, you said that it could fail, right? And so not only is it a progressive learning model, but it's a model of the power of taking risks and how students can benefit when we take those instructional lists. So just, you know, bravo to you. It's amazing. One of the things that you mentioned in terms of making this successful model is that each instructor involved modeled things like digital citizenship and speaking and listening standards through the distance learning. Why was this modeling so critical to the process, and what were some of the specific things that you modeled for students to help them be successful with this computer-mediated discourse or distance learning, however you want to call it?
I think the biggest part when you look at this is there's so many things that can go wrong. When you're adding kids and technology and you're giving them the opportunity to essentially one-on-one chat from a long distance, I mean, there's so many possibilities. What if this happens? Well, oh, you know, this could be turned bad. And, you know, there's a lot of stories out there that really support that, hey, you know, kids are not mature enough and they're not capable of this. And I think one of the biggest things we thought was that technology is not going away. If you harness the power of it, you can do amazing things with kids, and kids will amaze you with what they can do. So when we took that in mind, here's the thing, they can't check their technology at the door when they come in, so how could we use the technology that they use in their daily life and model it, show them the value of it, so now not only can they use it in an educational manner, but they can also model it for other students. And that was one of the real important things for me. You know, when you talk about digital citizenship, there's all kinds of things that could go wrong, and that's the thing. We want to show kids that, hey, technology is not going away, and it's a valuable piece in our life. So how can you do some of these little things of protecting yourself, realizing, you know, the technology piece, as we were saying earlier, there can be lag, so you have to work with the speaking and listening. How do you adapt to those situations? Because we had a lot of tech glitches that happened along the way that we had to really figure out on our own, because we couldn't ask anybody, because nobody else that we knew of that really took on this opportunity before.
Right, right. So Katie or Christy, anything to add to that in terms of digital citizenship and helping kids along with that aspect of the project?
I think Brian touched on this already, but for me, what I noticed was my students had a lot of, we'd talked a lot in different classes actually about being a responsible digital citizen, but what they didn't know how to do is the actual conversations. So having that lag time was something that I don't think we could actually really prepare them until they got a chance to experience it firsthand. But before we started the project with partners, we had my students and Brian's students kind of meet online as a whole group, and that was something that that I thought was really a good help for the students, because they got to see sort of what it would look like, how it would work, before they had to sort of be on the spot by being actually the one that was having the conversation one-on-one.
Right, kind of like a dress rehearsal, if you will,
right.
with the whole group.
Right.
And you know, yeah, that's smart. That's really smart. So not to camp out on challenges, but what other challenges did you face getting this distance learning experience off the ground? And on the other side of that same coin, what triumphs did you experience during, after, and finally, what's next up around the bend? What's the next level of this?
Hey, Christy, I think this is a great time for you to share about some of the, I know you and I had some differences on I guess going around through the protocols in order to allow kids to do this. I think this would be a great time for you to share kind of what you went through in that respect.
Yeah, I mean, some of the challenges or the hurdles kind of tie back to that last question, as far as number one, we wanted to keep our kids safe. Kids are going to use that technology regardless. So we do see it as our responsibility to teach the kids how to use technology in a safe way and as part of their learning. But still there are hurdles. So we had, like Brian mentioned earlier, there were some tech glitches and the Wi-Fi issues and the lag and the speaking and things like that. Some other challenges were just finding the right students, like just typical school challenges, getting the schedules to line up perfectly. What do you do when kids are absent but they're partnered with a kid who is there, and having to do that regrouping on the spot? So little challenges like that. And then the bigger challenges, like we did make sure that we communicated a lot with our district curriculum specialists and leaders and parents, just to make sure that everybody was on board and knew what was happening. We were very transparent about what we were doing, how we were doing it, what safety precautions we were taking to make sure the students were safe. We taught the students what information is and is not okay to share online. We taught them when it is and is not okay to even be online. So we really took a lot of care to make sure that we covered all of our bases so that everybody was on board, from the district leaders to parents to students. And as a result, I mean, while there were hurdles, there were challenges, it was successful. By the end, I've never seen kids so engaged or working so hard with someone they didn't even know. They were really trying to do their best work because they didn't know their partner, and they just kind of sensed that they were trying to impress their partner. They didn't want to let their partner down. Engagement skyrocketed, and they were learning their 21st century skills too. They were learning to collaborate. They were learning the speaking and the listening. They were learning to problem solve. So overall, even though there were all of those hurdles and challenges and bases to cover up front, hugely successful at the end.
Go to that. Yeah. So, you know, Katie and Brian, anything that you saw like in your students, and that maybe you're still seeing residual benefits from being involved in distance learning?
I think one of the biggest triumphs that I saw in this project was students who I considered were pretty good students had to really go above and beyond because they didn't know what was on the other side. A lot of times in schooling, you come up with the same group for 4 and 5, 6 years, so you know the ability level. You really don't know the ability level across the table, and that really forced students to go that extra distance. They were much more meticulous on their word choice, how they spoke to one another. One of the things that's kind of a personal thing that I really wanted, and it was one of the great triumphs, is, you know, well, nowadays we have a lot of kids that are creators online. They can create Facebook posts, Twitter posts. You know, this group here really learned that idea of becoming a responsible creator, because they were working, you know, as they're having the conversation. We had a Google document going side by side with them, looking at their partner and the document, with kind of like guiding questions by us, as well as the formative and summative assessments that we were expecting them to do. And as they were doing that, we kind of stepped back from the role of the lecturer, and we kind of became more of a facilitator, where I'm walking around the room and I'm with a laptop kind of going through all the Google Docs, making comments to kids, you know, telling them, hey, I love what you're doing here, great word choice, as well as, hey, tell me a little bit more about this idea. And I think the triumph of seeing them, you know, go that extra distance, realizing that they wanted to impress not just me, that there was a teacher on the other side. And I think it's fair for both of us, and when I say both of us, Katie and I's classrooms, to say, man, we had a lot of people watching us. We had a lot of district personnel. We had people that would walk by. I know in my building, like, people who'd like poke their head and like, what is going on? Because they would see like, you know, kids on computers with other kids and like totally amazed, like, what's going on? And I think like it kind of sparked a little fire, like, hey, it's like anything else. Kids started talking, and once kids started talking, the next question was, in both of our classes, when am I next? When's my turn?
Right.
And I think that's the huge thing. Like, we sparked a part for learning, and I think, man, like, I still had kids come back to me. We just started. This is only my second day of school today, but I had kids who have been coming back. Man, yeah, and they would tell their little brothers, sisters, we did that cool project when we got to talk to that other school, and like, kids have already asked me this year, hey, when do we get to try that?
That's awesome. So you're building a culture and a climate that is, you know, kids are anticipating this wonderful, great opportunity, and probably indirectly increasing your attendance. You know, I mean, kids want to come to school because they don't want to disappoint their partner. They're excited about the opportunity. So that's super cool. So I'm going to skip to the last question, because I think this speaks to the diet of instruction that you're giving your kids and helping to satisfy this appetite. So are you ready for the metaphor question?
Ready.
I don't know. I mean, you can each three give your own metaphor answer, or you can, however you want to collaborate, whatever you want to do, as we use this distance learning to make this happen. So ready? If distance learning was a food for middle level education, what kind of food would it be and why?
Well, I said pizza, and I said pizza because it can be a little messy. Like, we had some of the problems, but overall it was delicious and wonderful, and people definitely wanted more. I also thought pizza because you could have just a little bit. We could have just an assignment that would be a one-day thing or a quick thing, or the whole pizza, which would be something more like what we did that was over the space of a few weeks. So I'm curious to see what you both said.
I looked at it as water, because you have to have water in your body to keep moving. And I see as technology is going to continue to progress, and I've seen it just in the last 5 years that middle school students are coming in with a lot more technology skills than they ever had before. So therefore, the water is going to be something that they have to have. I mean, they wake up, they check their phone. Before they go to sleep, they check their phone. They're always connected or tethered to a device, and I feel that, you know, this is going to be something that's going to quench their thirst and a sense of education. Like, they're going to always want it. They're dying for more. They need it, because this is the world they live in. It's where they're comfortable. And now that they have the opportunity to take their personal life and what they do well at, or at least the way they think they do well, and be able to bring it into the classroom and tie it to standards and use it as a learning opportunity that's authentic, because the business world is very tied into electronic communication, that we're really offering them a service that's second to none. And I tell people the experiences that they have from it is going to it's going to stay with them for a long time. It's going to continue to want to have them ask their other teachers and other classes, you know, what can we do? I want to do this. I want to do more of this authentic learning.
So pressure's on in some ways for other classes, yeah. So, Christy, what do you think? Pressure's on you, I guess. What was the last one?
So I gave this some thought. Distance learning, I just kind of see it as one way to bring technology into the classroom. And I kind of see all of technology as the same. It's not the main course to me. I think it's more like a condiment or a spice that you would add, because it's not the main course. It's not the point of the lesson, but it is there to elevate and to enhance the experience. So that's the way I looked at it.
Wow. I mean, we really have a balanced meal if you together. You got some water to kind of the beverage, and then the pizza, maybe the pizza with the spice on it. I mean, goodness gracious. So definitely a full meal and a full course. And gosh, just thank you guys for providing. I'm going to keep the analogy going. It's a steady diet of wonderful, great stuff. And like you said, that whets the appetite, that quenches their thirst, and gets them excited about school. That's what it's all about, right?
Absolutely.
Excellent, excellent. Well, thank you guys for the article. Excellent information, and really, it's a great lesson for everybody to follow. To, like you said, things may fail, things may get messy, but that doesn't mean that we neglect trying different things. So, really, bravo. So, thank you also for taking the time out of your day. Like you said, the second day of school for you, Brian, and for Katie, how about you? What day is it for
I got to miss a meeting, but I think it's the middle of our third week. So, thank you for helping me miss a meeting.
Hey, AMLE is here to serve in any way that we can. No problem.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you guys for the conversation, and thank you everybody out there at AMLE Magazine for checking out the article and this interview. Here at AMLE, we help you reach every student, grow professionally, and create great schools. All right, thanks again, guys.
Thank you.
All right, thanks. Take care.
Bye.